Another day, another scandal. It becomes a normal thing in Nigeria for us to just see things that are abnormal happening here. This video I just came across this morning is a video that shows people in a factory working on what happens to be Tinubu rice. Tinubu for president's rice. Yes, there is hunger in the streets. Yes, things are hard for the average man. Yes, the average man is finding it hard to get their hands on food. But when it comes to politics and time to buy people's votes, somehow we always manage, these politicians always manage to find the resources to provide food, to provide things that should naturally be provided to the people that are in need. Moreover, they are even the ones creating the economic conditions for these things to be scarce. If you doubt me and you do not believe what I'm saying, or you think maybe I'm exaggerating it just because I'm campaigning for Peter Obi, here is a prime example that shows you what goes on here. And I'm saying this probably because maybe you are a more well-to-do member of the Nigerian populace that is sheltered from most of the happenings. But this is something the common man in the street knows. The common man on the street understands. And the worst part of it is the common man on the street takes it to be normal. Back then in 2021, 2020, at the heat of the pandemic that took over the whole world and shut down everywhere and put everywhere in issues, there was serious hunger in Nigeria because people could not go to work. Daily workers could not go to work. Market women could not go to work. So most of all these people are dependent on daily returns for them to feed, daily returns for them to survive and make sure their family and everybody's all right. We're in serious trouble. It was so crazy that it was pushed, it was at the brink of where crimes and other nasty things were rising in the street because people were basically dying of hunger. At the heat of that issue, when it got to the extreme and people were dying all over the country, we started hearing of relief funds. We started hearing of the government putting 500 billion into COVID-19's palliative to help ease the hardship for the country. We heard of other countries donating money to Nigeria to help ease the hardship. Because you are in a country that is the poverty capital of the world, has the highest number of people in poverty. So you know what a pandemic, shutting down, locking down everywhere did to the people. So we started hearing of money trooping in left and right from all angles. However, what happens to those funds? How COVID-19 palliative were hijacked and distributed among party loyalists. Back to the same structure we are all happy about. It is the same politician. The political party that is ruling has a way of making sure their own political people get all the things in charge. Get all the things that are distributed. Now you are distributing this country's funds. You are distributing money from taxes. But even palliatives they brought to help save people that die. That shows you the amount of regard these people has for your life. They have basically zero regard for your life. Palliative that was brought to rescue people, dying people from hunger, they still found a way to hoard it, distribute it among themselves. I remember in the thick and thin of that issue, there was a time people were so hungry, they were motivated enough to start raiding warehouses. One happened close to my area where I stayed then, so I saw it happen. People were raiding warehouses that were marked as just unassuming buildings that were containing loads and loads of COVID-19 food that was stored and meant to be palliative for the poor, for the vulnerable people. This is the country you are living in. This is the kind of politicians we have. So whichever face they try to mask it, whichever political party they try to use, this is the people that are ruling us. So the question is, are we ready to take this out, or are we ready to continue in this? Because it's only going to get worse. The more things become harder for them to steal, since the country is going broke, since things are not going well in the country, things keep getting harder and harder. it becomes harder for them to see new funds to steal because there's no money again. What they do is now steal from basic things that, both legally and illegally, steal from the basic things that affect everybody's survival in the country. So you there in your high horse that feel that you are safe, you are buttressed enough from the society because, okay, maybe you're earning in dollars, maybe you're getting money from a specific source, you think you are safe from this chaos that is coming. You are not entirely safe because eventually they are going to keep creeping it up. As soon as there's no more to steal on one level, they move to the next level. As soon as there's no revenue here, they move to taxes. Very soon you start hearing increases in taxes. The average man is already dying in the street, but you are increasing taxes. Before you know, everything will be taxed, even the average, just normal transit. Because everything is taxed, that's what is already happening. Fuel prices is going high. Prices in the market are going. You think that is not a form of tax? The regular prices are going is basically the government and the elites siphoning value from the rest of the public. Because there is no coffers, no area where money accumulates for them to steal anymore. Now they have to go to direct threats to your lives. But we are not worried. COVID-19 palliatives were hijacked and distributed among politicians in the thick of the coronavirus pandemic. A report by the civic advocacy group Budget has said. During the NSAS protests, hoodlums attacked a government-owned warehouse where food that was meant to be distributed during the pandemic in the Maza area of Ojo local government area, Lagos, were stored. And this happened in so many other places because it realized that the organization said that in Kano, resident of Minin Jibri revealed that the selection process of the beneficiaries was strictly for political party loyalists, and the vulnerable groups in the community could not benefit from the palliative distribution. Before you know, the government said they distributed this. Before you know, the government said they distributed that. But I never saw any of this on the streets, in the poorest parts of the streets where it was needed. So the question is, are we going to continue like this? Palliatives, food for the people, they are not. But when it comes to politics, you see packaged rice, Tinubu rice, PDP rice, APC this one, APC beans, and they feed you for 5 minutes and then you go back to the state of being hungry for 4 years. The prices will keep piling up because this is how things will go if we're not angry enough to wake up. But I have hope in the fact that Nigerians are getting angry because we have now gotten to the broken point. You know, there's this parable of when you put a frog in the water and you keep increasing the temperature of the water. The frog does not jump out because it's comfortable. It feels it can survive. It can survive until when it gets too hot, and now it tries to jump out, but it is too weak to jump because the water has been weakening it over time. That's exactly what has gotten to Nigeria, and I hope we do not get to the point where we are too weak to rise up before we do. We have been presented an opportunity to do that right now. In this dispensation, it is time we rise up and take it up. Because the time will come that the citizenry will be too weak, too docile, too mentally degraded to even rally together to stage any form of revolution. The time is now. And I'm happy that this anger is already spreading across the country and spreading even among the little ones among us. I saw a video earlier today that I'll play for you as well.
Okay, this student. Okay, this student.
These are students that staged the protest in Taraba State. Imagine students of a secondary school, from the look of them, they're probably in SS1 or thereabouts. Students staging protests. They basically locked the front of their school gate and were protesting against the principals and everybody, that they had to go and call police for the students. Why were these students protesting? Protesting that they are not getting an education that is worth it. A student complained that they have no laboratories. They have no chairs to sit down in class. They have nothing. They are standing up to take notes. Hear that young girl, hear how intelligent that girl is, standing up, and at that age where she should not even be worried about stuff like that. She has already been pushed to the point where issues that should be championed by adults is already at the core, at the center of her head, because she feels the attack from all angles. She feels the state of hopelessness and feels, even though I'm too small to understand what these adults are doing, I know it is time to revolt. This does not make sense. Yet, the adults are sitting down comfortable saying, politics not to concern me. I just have to focus on my business. Me, I don't really have time for it. You don't have time, yes. But you're looking at those young boys you're seeing in the video. This is how you get people that become a crisis to society in the future. Because you have children there, you're not training them on anything that will lead their life in a better direction. They are not seeing any sense of hope, any sense of a path to which they can end up being successful people. What do you think will happen? When these young boys filled with adrenaline begin to grow up, filled with testosterone begin to grow up, looking for where to transfer their energy, looking for where to benefit their lives, and they're already seeing that school is completely hopeless because the school is not even equipped enough to provide them anything. Talk more of even saying alternative education, like entrepreneurship, like trying to learn new age skills, like technology, like video editing, like software engineering, even more advanced skills. Even the basics is not provided to them. How do you expect a child like to have hope in the system? He instantly defaults to the fact the only hope for me is to go somewhere outside the box. And unfortunately, for most children, outside the box, without the guidance of people who give them education properly, outside the box for them means crime in one way or the other. It's time for us to wake up. Even the children are waking up. It's time for all the adults to take this thing personal, because this is a fight against our life. This is a defense. We have to mount a defense for our lives in this country. That is what we need right now. I just want to see a buoyant Nigeria. But anyway,